This is the Year of the Phoenix Wild Unnerfed tier list. To be on this list, you had to have been a Year of the Phoenix card that got nerfed. There are some cards in here that are part of the core set. We are going to assume everything rotates with the set that it came out in, because anything that isn't in the core set could get added to the next core set, and anything that is currently in the core set could get removed, for all we know. So we're gonna assume everything stays in with the set that it was in. All right. So this is also my personal preferences. This is not what I expect them to do. This is what I would like. First up, we have Apotheosis. Apotheosis was nerfed by -1/-1. I think that this card was never played in Wild. It is unlikely to get played in Wild, and if a deck did play this in Wild, it would be fun. So we're going to go ahead and put that in S tier. Blackjack Stunner. When it returned a card to your opponent's hand, it used to increase the cost by 2, currently increases the cost by 1. This is a card that I don't like. The card itself I like. The deck it goes in, Secret Rogue, I don't like at all, and I would like it to not be relevant. So personally, I think that I don't want this back for that reason, but objectively, I can't say it's risky, so I'm going to put it in fine. I don't want it, but it's not going to ruin Hearthstone either. All right, Bogspine Knuckles. Used to have 4 attack, currently has 3 attack. It was nerfed to 3 attack to prevent synergy with Corsair. That card, I think, is not in standard, so I'm not sure why this didn't get unnerfed already. Evolved Shaman is another archetype that I don't really prefer to play against, but it's not anywhere close to oppressive in Wild, and some people like it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the fine category too. Cabal Acolyte. Used to have 6 health, currently has 4 health. So this never got a lot of play in Wild, but it was starting to. It was like picking up speed when it got nerfed. Inner Fire is already pretty cracked right now, but it's faster than this, right? And you're not going to play this alongside Drekthar. So I think this is fine. I'm going to put that in A. Are you showing us the nerfed or unnerfed cards? The reason these card images are so wonky is because I had to hunt down really old pictures of the unnerfed cards. Like you can see here, we have a... it's hard to see because like some of the text is so small, right? Not everything was a mana change, but you can see this is a 2 mana Dark Lair and this is a 3 mana Dark Lair. So yeah, you had to kind of hunt down a bunch of really weird images, which is why they're so inconsistent. Each of these is in its old form. So like, that way we can talk about, do we want this Dark Lair change? Do we want this Dark Lair change? But yeah, so Cloak of Shadows. Currently is 4 mana, was 3. I don't think this card was problematic in Wild before. I think it's totally fine to bring back. It's the type of thing that is a little inherently, like, has a lot of inherent potential to be problematic in the future, especially considering the redundancy in Rogue, but I think probably fine. Crab Rider. So Paladin got nerfed a lot because of like this year's cards, right? Like it got nerfed into the ground. So my biggest problem with these type of Paladin decks is conviction. I don't mind strong cards being strong. I don't mind strong decks being strong, but 12 damage from hand on turn 5 was disgusting. So like conviction is my big issue. The other cards, the one card outside of conviction that I think I might not want to see back is Crab Rider. And I don't want to feel that way. I am very, very, I am compelled to not feel that way because Romano wants this card back so much and he's trying really hard and I want to give it to him. And for that reason alone, I am putting it in risky instead of don't. Crimson Sigil Runner was a 1 mana 2/1 outcast draw card, is currently 1 mana 1/1 with that effect. So this is a worse Kobold Librarian that doesn't have self-damage synergy to make it like even more broken on top of how just inherently good it is. So like if Kobold Librarian without self-damage synergy is fine for Warlock, like a worse version of that is fine for Demon Hunter. Plus, like, Demon Hunter is in a spot where it needs all the help it can get. I'm going to put that in... I'm actually going to put that in preferred. I think, like, it's not like this is a home run. Absolutely, you unnerf this. This is like, yeah, you could unnerf it. So I'll put it there. Now we have 2 mana Dark Lair. So this is 2 mana Dark Lair, refreshing 1 mana crystal. This change was made heavily because of Wild. So because of Wild, it went from a 3 mana refresh 2 to a 2 mana refresh 1. The 2 mana refresh 1 to 3 mana refresh 1 was a change that was made for Standard. In the absence of Demon Seed, is 2 mana Dark Lair okay to bring back? I want to say yes. If we leave Flesh Giant at 10, then I'm pretty comfortable with a 2 mana Dark Lair Revert, because the power level of other decks have kind of caught up to Dark Lair. So, like, Dark Lair really stood out the first year it was around because nothing was at that level yet. Now we have a bunch of things that are at that level. So, like, I don't think that Dark Lair not existing, or Dark Lair being bad, makes the format any better. I am going to put it in risky, especially because it's really dependent on what else they unnerf. Like, if they unnerf everything that Dark Lair had, like Penflinger and Flesh Giant, then it's scary. But at 2 mana, I think it's alright. Original Dark Lair, 3 mana, refreshing 2 mana crystals. I'm gonna put that straight in the don't category. Back when this card existed, you ran Sense Demons to tutor that thing. It was busted. Absolutely disgusting. Please don't bring that back. Deck of Lunacy. Currently 4 mana. Used to be 2 mana. Changes all spells in your deck into ones that cost 3 more, but you keep the original cost. This card is terrible at 2 mana today. Like, this card was good because of the limited spell pool. It has never been close to good in Wild. It will never be good in Wild because there are too many spells. The variance is too high. It was not random when it was good in Standard. It was very specific. No reason not to unnerf this card. Dreadlord's Bite, 3 mana 3/2, or was a 3 mana 3/2, is currently a 3 mana 2/2. Outcast, deal 1 damage to all enemies. So it was 3 mana, deal 7. Now it is 3 mana, deal 5. That is a pretty big nerf. What's funny about this card is, like, Odd Demon Hunter had fallen off, and then it got this card, and it started to be relevant again. And then they took it away, and it kind of fell off. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in A. It's not like a home run unnerf, but, like, Demon Hunter needs all the help it can get. I don't think that this is ever an oppressive version of Odd Demon Hunter. I think it's fine. We can bring that back. Evocation was 1 mana, fill your hand with random mage spells. They get destroyed at the end of the turn. Is currently 2 mana with that effect. This card could have been unnerfed already for Standard. It is good with Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Standard doesn't have Sorcerer's Apprentice, and who cares if you get this off of Wandmaker. It doesn't have Mana Giant either, right? Like, why did this stay nerfed? I think it almost could go in S tier. I think the only reason that I'm not going to put it in S tier is because I don't particularly want it to be good. When this card is relevant, it feels bad. So I'm going to put it here. I don't think there's any good reason not to unnerf it. The only reason not to unnerf it is I don't like that. I don't think it's going to cause any problems with 4 mana Sorcerer's Apprentice. First Day of School. Originally was 0 mana, add 2 random minions to your hand. 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. Currently is 1 mana for that effect. In between the current effect and the original effect, they had tried 1 mana with 3 minions. That version got cut from Wild. So the hand buff paladins of the time cut that version, which is, it was crazy to me. I was expecting it to be killed for Standard and almost buffed in Wild because you could hand buff more things, but it was the reverse. It was still nutty in Standard, and the Wild version couldn't play the minion on 1 anymore because you were spending 1 mana to add the stuff, and followed up with Hand of Adal, which is, like, part of what made it so good is it gave you something to play on one to curve into Hand of Adal. So this card was not good in the hand buff of its time. I don't know that it's a home run, but I think it's preferred for sure. Then we have the 0 mana version. Okay, so going back to how I feel about Paladin. 90% conviction, 10% Crab Rider is my issue with those Paladin decks. I don't really care if they get this back. The only reason that I wouldn't put this in A2 is just because I don't really like playing against this card. You know, like it doesn't feel good to play or play against, because if your opponent gets like really nutty things off of it, it's annoying. And when you play it and you get like the 8 armor thing, like I would have preferred this card be basically Firefly, you know, like add 2 1/2 students to your hand. I'm gonna put it in fine. I don't really want that card back, but I don't think it would be a problem to bring back either. So Flesh Giant is currently 10 mana 8/8. Reduce the cost by 1 whenever your health changes on your turn. Before that, it cost 9 without effect, and before that, it cost 8. I think you can't unnerf this card and unnerf Dark Lair. I think you could pick one, and if you're gonna pick one, you pick Dark Lair. That's kind of how I feel about it. I am going to put the 9 mana version in Don't. I think for the 9 mana version, you either unnerf it or you leave it the same. There's no reason to go back by 1. This puts it back in like weird murky territory. I just don't think, like, you either want it to be in its current state or you want it to be in its old state. So there's no reason to put it here. I'm gonna put the 8 mana in Risky. Just because I'm fine with like one of these getting unnerfed, I think. Not my preference. I think that Flesh Giant should probably stay the same as it is right now. But if you don't unnerf Dark Lair, I think you could unnerf it. Maybe. I don't know. It's risky. But definitely the 9 mana version, just don't do it. There's no reason to. You either go to 8 or you don't do anything. So Fungal Fortunes. Currently 3 mana, draw 3 cards, discard any minions drawn. Used to be 2 mana with that effect. It's such a good card in Druid that sees play in Druid decks and is a good card in those decks in its current form, that it seems a little weird to unnerf it. But at the same time, like, who cares? I want to put it in fine for my own personal experience. It's not the type of card that, if it's really strong, it ruins my play experience, you know? So, like, you don't need to. There's no reason to unnerf this. But I'm not, like, unhappy if they do either. So I'm going to put it in fine. You can't run it in Odd Druid anymore if you do that. Gibberling was a 1 mana 1/1 spellburst. Summon a Gibberling. It's currently 2 mana with that effect. On the one hand, like, I don't really want aggro Druid to be better. But the thing is, like, aggro Druid, as far as an aggro deck goes, is kind of fine to play against. What I like about it is it doesn't have a lot of, like, Mind Blasts type of stuff from hand, you know? Like, it's not Loath-Ebbing you, it's not Mind Blasting you. If you clear its board, you're safe for a turn. Yeah, it's annoying when your opponent gets the nuts and has, like, way too much stats early on. But on the other hand, like, that happens with decks already currently. And the rest of what aggro Druid does feels fine to play against. So I'm going to put it in A tier, actually. I think aggro Druid could get that back. And I'd be fine with it. Guardian Animals. It used to cost 7, summon 2 beasts that cost 5 or less from your deck and give them rush. Currently costs 8 with that effect. What's really sad about this card is it made like a really decent, fun deck in Wild that was no issue. And then that entire archetype like disappeared as soon as they nerfed it by the 1 mana. And what really makes me feel bad about it is I think it might have missed its time. Like, I don't know that this card is going to be good today. Like, we had it so briefly, and then they took it away, and I don't know that it, like, the 7 mana version kept up with today's Hearthstone. I think this one's definitely a home run. Like, I've been looking forward to this unnerf since they nerfed it. I hope they'll unnerf that one. We could play Jade Beast Druid again and be sad when it's not as good as other things you can do. Hand of Adal was 2 mana, give a minion +2/+2 and draw a card. Is currently the same thing, but with +2/+1. Like all Paladin cards, it's mostly Conviction that I had an issue with. I don't mind strong cards being strong. Pretty fine with this one. I think Knight of Anointment into this is cool. I think I'm putting it in B tier. Like, I don't really need this back, but it's not going to make my Hearthstone experience worse. I think it's okay to have this back. High Abyss Allura was 4 mana 3/6 spell burst. Play a spell from your deck, targeting Abyss if possible. Is now 5 mana with that effect. I'm going to go ahead and slap this in fine. I don't want this. I don't like playing against these types of decks, but there's a better version already. Prismatic Lens already exists. So Conviction has a misnomer of being a holy spell. Nothing holy about that abomination at 1 mana. Yeah, I guess. So anyways, Prismatic Lens already exists, and it's a better version of what this does, so like, who cares if this comes back? Hysteria is currently 4 mana, target an enemy minion, it attacks other minions until it dies. Used to be 3 mana with that effect. Hysteria sees a lot of play at 4. It still feels like a really strong effect at 4. I think there's no need to unnerf this. I did like it, you know, like, especially if you start bringing back things like this. Like, if C tier gets unnerfed, I think you want to bring back Hysteria, because you need stronger board clears to answer those like ridiculous early swings. But like, I think the biggest consequence of this being unnerfed to 3 is that even Renalock can't play it anymore. So I'm gonna put that in fine. I don't like really want it. I kind of want it. I kind of don't want it, and I don't think that it's going to make Hearthstone a worse game. Original Hysteria did cost 3, but you could target your own minions too. And I think it's such a shame we didn't really get to play with this card. Targeting your own minions to clear boards made for some really cool like plays when used honestly. But the problem with it is there's a minion that can make your own minions immune for a turn, which broke this. So you get a card like Wretched Tiller that deals damage whenever it attacks, and target, give it immune, and make it attack until it dies. You blow up your opponent in 1 turn. So like, it's pretty sad that like we didn't get to play with the coolest version of this card ever, because for a week there was this busted combo. This is a change that got made specifically for Wild, so I think that we don't this. What would bump it up a tier for me? Probably bump it up. I don't know. It might even bring it to preferred. All right. So how we get this version of the card from don't to preferred for me? Leave it at 4 mana, change it to the original effect, and ban the immune minion like we should have at the beginning. Not ban it, but change it. The immune minion has caused infinite damage combos before. Changing the immune minion was the right call. That's the one that's going to cause more problems farther down the line. I would like this 4 mana, targeting your own minions, coming with a change to that immune thing. But that is literally not going to happen, so we'll leave this one in don't. Next up we have Il'gynoth. So your lifesteal effects deal damage to the opponent's face instead of healing you. 4 mana, 2/6 lifesteal originally, is currently 6 mana for 8, right? Demon Hunter needs all the help it can get. This is not an archetype that's ever seen play in Wild. It would need a lot in order to be oppressive. I think that's a home run. Imprisoned Antian, currently a 6 mana 10/6 dormant, awakes in 2 turns, and when it does, deal 10 damage randomly to your opponent's side of the board. Used to be 5, so you could play it in Odd Demon Hunter. During the day that this existed, it didn't really see play in Wild, I don't think. It was slow for Wild. Wild had so many more cards it could play. So like, this felt slow. That said, I've said that about cards before, and they've been like crazy in Wild, where I felt like they were slow and they ended up being like some of the most powerful things you could do. So like, if we'd had a few weeks to play with Antian, would it have made the Wild list? I doubt it, but maybe. But anyways, like, I'm not afraid of this card. Are you afraid of this card? I'm not afraid of that card. I think we unnerf it. Imprisoned Scrap Imp, 2 mana 3/3, currently dormant. When you awake after 2 turns, buff your hand by +2/+1, was +2/+2. This was never broken in Wild. I don't even think that this would be problematic in today's standard. I think that this is a home run. Incanters Flow, currently 4 mana, reduce the cost of spells in your deck by 1. Before that it cost 3, before that it cost 2. Sorcerer's Apprentice costs 4 mana now. Sorcerer's Apprentice is better than this. It felt like one of the weaker cards in the deck when it was 3, and it also had Sorcerer's Apprentice to help. I'm going to put the 3 version in fine. I don't want it back. I don't want this ever back. Like, It's the same thing with like Quest Rogue for me, where it can only go wrong. If this ends up being good, I'm gonna be sad. But I don't think it'll be that good. You know, I think it'll be fine. So I'm gonna put the 3 cost version there. I'm gonna put the 2 cost in risky. I'm not gonna put it in don't, just because I feel like without Sorcerer's Apprentice, it's not as spooky. But we might get a refreshing spring water on Nerf at some point. And like, I don't know, like remember how benign this seemed for a whole year? This thing took a year to be busted. This card was trash for a year, and then it was busted when it got support. It got, like, it had no support, and then it got any support, and it went, oh my goodness, do I have to knock this down? I feel like a coward putting it in here, so I'm going to put it in risky, but if this gets any support, it's nuts. Jandis, Battlecry, summon 2 random 5-cost minions, pick 1 secretly to be an illusion. When it takes any damage, it dies. Was 5 mana 2/1, is currently 6 mana 2/1. This is an example of a card that I completely underestimated because it seemed too slow for Wild, but it ended up being cool. It's also an example of randomness that doesn't bother me. I'm going to put that in S tier. I'm looking forward to that on Nerf. Pain Sun-Fri, 4 mana 3/5, charge, ignore taunts. That's what it was originally. They lowered its health by 1. There is no reason to make this change. There is no reason not to make this change. I'm going to put it in fine because it does not impact whether or not this sees play. Maybe I'll put it in preferred. I don't know. Do I put it in S? I don't know. Like, it can't go wrong. Like, who cares if this gets 1 more health? Polkelt. Order your deck from top to bottom. Was a 4 mana 4/5, is now a 5 mana 4/5. I actually prefer this effect at 6. I don't like the effect at all. I feel like top deck variance is part of what makes like card games fun. Ordering your deck is just, I want to put this in don't because I don't like the thing that it does. But if I'm being objective, like how much worse is my Hearthstone experience going to be if they do this? And it really depends what they do over here. So based off of what's currently going on in Hearthstone, I mean, like, I don't need Raza Priest to be anything, but like, I don't need Raza Priest to be better this way. You know, like 4 mana Polkelt isn't going to make or break Raza. I think you just keep it as is. I almost want to put it in don't. Having talked about, like, I thought that was bias, but I feel like there's no reason to do this. Right? I guess I'll put it in risky. I don't think any good can come of this being cheaper. But I don't think it's likely for it to be a problem. Metamorphosis was 5 mana for 10 damage over 2 turns. Was 7 mana for 10 damage over 2 turns. Is currently 7 mana for 8 damage over 2 turns. This is an iconic Demon Hunter spell. It's not something that I consider particularly oppressive. I don't think that it's an especially inspired design, but it makes your hero look cool for a couple of turns. It's kind of a shame that this got nerfed and that it never got reverted. Like, is this really a problem in today's standard? What about yesterday's standard, even? You know, like, I feel like, I forget exactly, but I feel like this was part of the Demon Hunter change that I felt went too far. I think that this is an easy S tier. All right. Lucia is currently 3 mana 1/3. Get a copy of your opponent's hand for a turn. Used to be swap hands with your opponent until the beginning of your next turn at 3 mana, and before that it was 2 mana. Okay, so the reason it got nerfed from its old effect to its current effect is because in Aggro Priest, as soon as Aggro Priest became a thing, it was a time warp. So you would empty your hand, dealing a bunch of damage to your opponent, then play a Lucia, and your opponent would have an empty hand for a turn. You basically just get to play another turn, because anything that they could draw from your deck isn't going to help them. You don't have reactive tools. That alone, all right, now that Priest is an aggro class, that alone, objectively, is like F tier. You can't unnerf this card. You just can't. I'm sorry. You can't do it. Because of that usage, you can't. But I don't want it. Not because of that at all. I don't even care about that. I don't want it because as a control card, this card is ridiculously tilting. If you want cards in your hand, not if you're combo, just if you have cards that you want and need to win the game, Lucia just destroys you. Like, it's such a cheesy card. I don't understand why anyone justifies this card. 3 mana version goes in the don't. The 2 mana version is just absurd. You play this on 2, play your opponent's coin, and like take their best play out of your hand. They draw you a card because they like it. Just easy F tier on both accounts. Terrible. To their credit, like it's always nice when something's busted and you know how to use it, and so you get to just run a train on your opponent. It did reward you for knowledge, but it wasn't interactive. Like your opponent couldn't do anything about that. If you knew what you were doing with Lucia, it was you draw it and you win in the right matchup. Nitroboost is currently 2 mana for once corrupted, it will be +2 to your weapon, +2 to a minion. When not corrupted, it only hits the minion. Used to be 1 cost. So is 2 cost, was 1 cost. I like Kingsbane. Kingsbane Suffering. I really liked Weapon Rogue in Standard. I was sad to see this card go. Man, can you imagine 1 cost Nitroboost Poison in Poison Rogue in Standard? Anyways, I'd be happy to see this back. I'm going to put it in Preferred. It's not like a home run, right? Like, it would be a very good card. It's not like you can definitely unnerf that, and there's no risk to it. So I'm going to put it in A, but it is something I want back. Penflinger. Used to target face, no longer targets face. This felt really cheesy in Raza, felt really cheesy in Dark Lair. It was fun in Dark Lair. It was so fun in Dark Lair. I'll say that. Dark Lair I think it lost like 20% of its fun when the Penflinger got nerfed. Playing Dark Lair in Dark Moon Fair before the Tamsin combo and before it lost Penflinger was so different. Like, if you never got to play with that version of the deck, I'm sorry. That was the most fun version of Dark Lair. Easily. I think Penflinger is probably problematic right away if you unnerf it, and has high potential to become problematic in the future, so the best I can do for it is risky. I want it back, but I don't know. Priestess of Fury was a 7 mana 6/7 at the end of your turn, deal, 6 damage randomly to your opponent's side of the field. It's currently a 7 mana 6/5. Wasn't it cool that there was an aggro deck in Wild that played this? This was a sad card to lose. This was part of where I was like, you guys are taking it a little bit too far with these Demon Hunter nerfs. Easy S tier. Give it back. Scavenger's Ingenuity. 2 mana. Draw a beast from your deck. Currently gives +2/+2. Used to give +3/+3. Yeah, who cares? I think like this can draw Stone Tusk Boar, and then you can copy the Stone Tusk Boar, and your Stone Tusk Boar can get out of control or something. Like there is some combo high roll spooky potential for Scavenger's Ingenuity. So I'm not going to put it in S tier, but I think it makes it into the preferred handily. Secret Passage. Set your hand aside, get a new hand of 5 originally from your deck. Is currently 4. When they nerfed this card, I was a little sad, just a little, because Rogue was suffering in Wild at the time, and like Secret Passage was broken, but it needed a broken card to carry it. It's felt about right at 4. I think I'm happy with it at 4. I'm going to put this in don't. I don't think there's any reason to do that. It's already like, I think it's already Rogue's strongest card. It's a type of strong that I like. I don't want the, like, I like that the card exists, but it is plenty good at 4. Hanar. Me trying to be objective is all that's keeping this out of F tier. Hanar is the worst card that makes me feel the worst when it's played against me. I hate random secrets. I don't really like secrets. I don't really like random. And you put them together, and it's just awful. It sickens me to my core. I don't like this card at all. It's kind of fun to play. When you get one out and it sticks and you just get to play secrets forever and your opponent keeps triggering them, it is pretty fun. But like being on the other side of that is just ugh. I don't think it's risky. I want to put it in don't because I don't want it. I'm going to put it in fine. I'm going to be objective and put it in fine. I do not prefer it, and it's not like something that can't go wrong. I'll put it in fine. Shard Shatter Mystic, 3 mana, 3/2, Battle Cry. If you have a Soul Shard in your deck, destroy it and deal 3 damage to the board. Was 3 mana, is currently 4 mana. Demon Hunter needs all the help in Wild it can get. Dustbreaker effects are fun. This card was fun. The deck that it was in was fun. Easy S tier. If I only got to unnerf one thing, would it be that? I don't think so. Probably be Guardian Animals. We only got to unnerf one thing. What would it be? Oh, it'd be Warglaives. Skull of Gul'dan. This is an interesting one. Remember how disgusting Skull of Gul'dan was on release day? I bet a bunch of you don't. Odd Demon Hunter getting to run Skull of Gul'dan on release was very interesting. A lot has happened. Like, the power level of Hearthstone in general has gone up a lot since then. And Demon Hunter is not a class in Wild at the moment. I think it's actually straight up safe to unnerf this. I think it's actually straight up fine. I think I could almost put it indefinitely. The problem is Polkelt might get unnerfed and Il'gynoth might get unnerfed. So if you unnerf Polkelt and Il'gynoth, Polkelt on 4 into Skull on 5, drawing you your other Skull and your Il'gynoth. Oh, where's my Moarg Artificer? I'm missing one. Anyway, so if Moarg Artificer stays at 3, can you imagine? Polkelt into Skull, into Il'gynoth, into Moarg Artificer, into like turn 6 kills every time. I think that's like... Wild is already doing things at that power level. So the more I talk about it, the more I think it'd be fine. I'm going to put it in Preferred. Solarian Prime was 7 mana, 7/7, cast 5 mage spells, targeting your opponent if possible, with +1 spell damage. Currently 9, used to be 7. I didn't love having this played against me, but the power of Wild has changed. I think like it used to be I would put it in fine, and now I'll put it in definitely. Based off of today's standards, I don't think anything. I don't think that card even gets played again if you unnerf it. Voracious Reader, currently 3 mana 1/3, draw cards until your hand is full. Not hand is full, no. Is currently 3 mana 1/3, draw cards until you have 3. Was 2 mana for that effect. What was really fun about this was playing it in Demon Hunter, but Demon Hunter just got that effect on a spell. So like the biggest reason to unnerf this is actually no longer necessary. I'm not going to put this in Don't. I'm going to put it in Risky. I don't think that my Hearthstone experience is worse for this card being 2. But it's definitely a pretty volatile card. It could easily go wrong. Warglaives of Azzinoth is currently a 5 mana 3/3 weapon, and if you attack a minion, you can attack again. Before that, it was a 6 mana card with that effect, which is a worse version of this card, so this is a buff from that. But initially, it was 5 mana 3/4 for that effect. Really fun. Killed the mid-range Odd Demon Hunter. This card is the Poggers. If I could unnerf only one card, it would be this one. I will put that in S tier, right there at the top of it. So I realized I forgot some, and I had to go hunt down the remaining images. So, Bloodboil Brute. 7 mana, 5/8 rush currently that reduces its cost by 1 for each damage minion on the field. Used to be 6/8. I was actually surprised how often that 6 damage mattered. Like, this clears Vargoth at 6 damage. It would clear, I don't know, other things. The one attack does matter frequently enough. I think that this is completely fine. These archetypes are ones that kind of struggle in Wild at the moment, so having that little bit of extra help would be cool. Corsair Cache. Draw a weapon, give it +1 attack currently, was +1 attack and 1 durability before. I wish that this was the version of Pirate Warrior that is currently played. I think that like the quest line takes everything that's cool about the Pirate Warrior deck and makes it yucky. I'm gonna go ahead and say you can definitely unnerf that card, but it's not gonna make a difference. The quest already tutors your weapon. Even if you don't intend to like complete the quest fully, you know, if you're running a pirate deck, the quest is just better. Kael'thas Sunstrider. So currently 7 mana, 4/7. Your third spell costs 1, so that's every third spell. Used to be the same card, but reduce the effect to 0. And before that, it was the same card, reduce the effect to 0, but cost 6. Actually, like, the change I always wanted for this card was to have the first, your third spell, period. Not every third, just the third, reduced to 0. It's anything that allows you to just kind of, like, play your whole deck in a turn. Is just yucky to me. I don't like, okay, my opponent's doing lots of stuff and there's nothing I can do about it. Gross. Kael'thas is very much that card all the time. If you unnerf this either way, The Barnes play your whole deck on somewhere between turns 1 and 3 deck comes back. How good is that deck? I don't know. It's probably bad, but maybe it's great. I'm gonna put the 7-1 in risky, and I'm gonna put the 6-1 in risky too. The text matters a little bit more, but the 7-1 is almost better in Druid because you can tutor it. If you unnerf it to 6, it's kind of a very subtle nerf to Malagos Druid, just because you don't get the Kael'thas off of your Juicy Psych Melon anymore, and the actual cost of Kael'thas doesn't matter for that deck. But the 6-cost version is much more likely to get used outside of that. Both of them are, I think they're very short-term fine, but long-term definitely going to be an issue. So I almost want to put it in don't, but I don't feel strongly enough about it to do that. Finally, we have Moarg Artificer. So is currently 3 mana, 2/5 for double the damage from spells that minions take. Used to be 2 mana, 2/4. I feel like if you unnerf Skull, and if you unnerf Il'gynoth, and if you unnerf Polkelt, if you unnerf all of those things, I almost feel like the deck wants this at 3, because it's better in the Polkelt order. So if you unnerf all of those, I think you almost want to unnerf this too, just to like make the Polkelt less gross. But I think this card's like, I almost want to put it indefinitely, just because like who cares? It's a card that like barely saw play in like Raza Priest in Wild before the nerf. The nerfed version is arguably better for the only strategy that it's scary in, so I think you definitely revert it. I don't see any downside. So that about wraps things up. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel, and comment where you would put all of these things in the tier list and how right or wrong I was. I will have a link in the description to the list if you'd like to make your own. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.